chosen one. What you are about to hear is not the message you came for. It is the message heaven has been waiting centuries to give you. A red alert has been sounded over your life, not over the world, not over a generation, but over the single name you carry tonight. The hush you have lived inside for years, the silence in which you almost stopped listening to yourself, has finally been broken. There is a reason your life has felt unfinished. There is a reason the calling no one validated kept refusing to leave you. Heaven has always reserved its rarest moves for those who would not believe the move was for them. Tonight, that move belongs to you. The seal that held this message closed for hundreds of years cracked the moment your eyes met these words, and the reading has already begun. Do not argue with the magnitude of what is happening. Do not measure yourself against the worthiness of the moment. The Father chose this name. The Father chose this hour. Sit close. Listen with the part of you that has always suspected. Heaven is finally speaking, and the first word on the page is yours. Before another word leaves my mouth, I want you to see where you are, not where your body is sitting, where your spirit is standing. There is a room that exists outside of time, a chamber where the writing of names happens. The lamps in that room burn lower than any flame on earth, and the silence inside it is not empty. The silence is heavy with attention. In the center of that room, on a long table older than memory, a single scroll has been resting, sealed, waiting, unread. The wax that held it closed has held for centuries, through wars, through famines, through generations who lifted their faces and asked heaven the same question you have asked in the dark of your own bedroom. Am I seen? Am I known? Do you remember my name? And every one of those generations passed without that scroll being touched, until tonight. Tonight, in the same exact second the words of this message reached you, a hand moved across that table, lifted that scroll, and broke the seal. So, wherever you are sitting tonight, whether the day has emptied you or the night has kept you up, understand this. You did not stumble into this moment. You were brought here. The scroll is open. The reading begins. Stay with me through every minute that follows, because what is coming next is not background. By the time this message ends, 3 things will have happened inside you. You will know the exact reason heaven has been silent over your name for so long, and why that silence was the most loving thing heaven could have done for you in this season. You will hear the specific word being declared over your identity, the name beneath the name you have been answering to, the one heaven has been carving while the world was busy mispronouncing the smaller version of you. And before this ends, I will speak a sealing prayer over your life that I want you to receive with both hands open, because the alert is not finished until the seal is placed back over you. Do not leave early. Heaven did not. For weeks, maybe months, maybe years, signals have been reaching you that you could not categorize. You called them coincidence. You called them stress. You called them imagination on a tired night. But the part of you that does not lie to itself has been quietly keeping a list. Tonight, I want to read that list with you. Not because I know your private life, but because the alert that crossed heaven on your behalf has been writing itself into your days. 5 signs, each of them small enough to dismiss alone, all of them together forming a perimeter of warning that has been drawing closer for some time. Listen. Maybe you have noticed your name in places it had no business being. A page in a book you never planned to open. A stranger calling out a name on a busy street, and you turning your head before you understood why. A piece of mail addressed to someone with your first name in a city you have never lived in. The world does not normally repeat your name. It pronounces it once and moves on. But lately, your name has been showing up like a watermark on the surface of ordinary days. That is not random. Heaven was rehearsing your name in the world, before the world knew you were hearing. Maybe you have noticed a heaviness around your future that did not match anything happening in your present. Not depression, not anxiety, in the clinical sense, a gravity, a weight that descends on certain afternoons when you are not even thinking about your life. The kind of weight that comes before something important is about to be said. Most people misread that weight as warning. They tense, they prepare for impact. But weight is not pressure. Weight is preparation. Heaven sets the load on the shoulders of those who can carry it. Maybe you have noticed dreams in which someone is calling for you. The dream is vague, the room is unclear, but a voice is summoning you by name, and you wake remembering only the calling. You shake it off. You go on with your morning. But the dream returns, slightly different, with the same instruction underneath. Come. Your spirit has been receiving the alert for months. Tonight is when your conscious mind catches up. Maybe you have noticed yourself waking at hours that do not belong to ordinary sleep. 2:47, 3:33, 4:11. You blame stress, you blame age, you blame the room being too warm. But in the dark, before you reach for your phone, your name is the first thing that surfaces in your mind. Not a worry, not a task, just your name, like an echo in a hall. Heaven uses the hours when the world is too quiet to interrupt. Maybe you have noticed yourself feeling watched in moments when no one was there. Not in fear, in a way that almost felt like company. You stood alone in the kitchen at midnight and felt observed. You walked in your own backyard and felt witnessed. Most people fight that feeling. They check the locks, they turn on the lights. But the ones who can tell the difference know that you were never alone. You were being kept. There is a difference between being watched and being kept. I know how exhausting it is to live a life nobody seems to verify, to do the right thing in private and watch the wrong people get celebrated in public, to carry a calling you cannot fully explain to the people closest to you, to keep showing up for a future you have no proof is coming. You have wondered if your faithfulness is being recorded anywhere at all. You have wondered if heaven sees the small, hidden choices nobody else notices. You have wondered, on the longer nights, if you are simply forgotten. Tonight, you are receiving your answer. What you called overlooked, heaven called hidden. There is a difference between being forgotten and being kept. Forgotten is what happens when nobody remembers your name. Kept is what happens when one specific voice has been holding your name on the lips of a father, waiting for the right hour to release it. You have been kept. The world simply did not have clearance to know, and the silence you sat inside all this time, that long stretch when no answer came, no door opened, no clear word arrived, that was not absence. That was the writing of the alert. Heaven does not draft a red alert in noise, it drafts in silence. The silence was the desk on which your name was being written. If even one of those signs just located you exactly where you are sitting, when you have a free hand, type 3 words in the comments below. I see it. Type it for your own spirit, so it knows you heard the alert reaching you. These signs were never random. They were the perimeter of an alert, closing in on a single name. The closer the perimeter drew, the more your body and your dreams and your nights began to register the approach. Tonight, you are no longer at the edge of the perimeter. Tonight, you stand at the center of it. The signs were the pre-shock. The reading is the alert itself. But before the alert can be read aloud, you have to understand why it took so long for a single name to rise high enough above the noise of this generation to reach the throne. There is a question every chosen one eventually asks in the dark, and tonight I am going to answer it. Why was heaven silent for so long? Why did the answers stop coming when you needed them most? What you are about to hear will recolor every quiet year you ever lived through. There is a question every chosen one eventually carries into the dark, and the answer to it has been waiting longer than the question, why was heaven so quiet? Why did the long stretches arrive when the answer was needed most? Why did the calling intensify in the same season that the doors seemed to close? Tonight, the answer becomes simple. Heaven was not silent because heaven had forgotten you. Heaven was silent because heaven was carving your name. Names that come quickly are common names. They are spoken once, written into a register, and stored on a shelf with thousands of other ordinary names. But names that take centuries to be released are kept names. They are not stored. They are inscribed. They are pressed into a surface that does not erase. And the inscribing happens in silence because noise would shake the hand that is doing the carving. When you cannot hear your name spoken, you are being hidden. You are being held. You are being honored. The hidden one is the one heaven decided was worth protecting from premature release. The held one is the one heaven decided was worth waiting for. The honored one is the one heaven decided to write down with the kind of care that takes generations to finish. You are all three. There is a Hebrew word from a very old prayer of David that explains what was happening to you in those quiet years. The word is yada. The verse in Psalm 139 says, "You have searched me and known me." Most readers slide past that line. They picture a casual kind of knowing, the way one stranger knows another. But yada is not casual knowing. Yada is the knowing of a father who has watched a child sleep, who has counted the rhythm of their breathing, who has memorized the small expressions on their face when they think no one is looking. Yada is to be known so deeply that the speaking has to wait until the knowing is complete. Heaven was not silent because heaven did not know you. Heaven was silent because heaven was yadaing you, knowing you in a way no human has ever known you. And the speaking would have to wait until the knowing was finished. Tonight, the knowing is finished. Delay is not denial. Delay is detail. Heaven was not withholding. Heaven was finishing. The silence you suffered through, the years that drained you, the seasons in which you wondered if your prayers were even reaching the ceiling, all of that was the chamber where this exact night was being prepared. The red alert had to be written. Your name had to be inked. The seal had to be placed. The hour had to be chosen. Tonight is the hour. There is a story in the older scriptures that lives this exact pattern, and her name is Esther. She was born Hadassah, a girl with a different name in a different life. And then she was renamed Esther, which in the old tongue means hidden one, hidden. Long before she knew the meaning of her own name, she had already been placed in the king's palace, given a position no one expected for her, and quietly kept inside a story whose real shape no one in the palace could see. She did not know she was being placed. She did not know she was being kept. She did not know she was being prepared. She lived for years inside a hiddenness that did not announce itself, walking palace hallways and eating at palace tables, and never once being told why. And then, one afternoon, her uncle Mordecai stood at the gate of that palace and sent her a message. The message was a red alert. He told her that her people were about to be destroyed, and that everything in her life, the renaming, the hiding, the years inside the palace, had been for one reason, for such a time as this. The whole architecture of her hidden years suddenly made sense in a single afternoon. The silence was the palace. The hiddenness was the preparation. The red alert was the moment her real life finally began. Hear me carefully now. Your hidden years were Esther's palace years. The silence you sat inside was not punishment, it was placement. And tonight is your Mordecai moment. The same kind of message that crossed the palace gate to reach Hadassah is crossing the years to reach you. For such a time as this, for such a name as yours. Let what just landed have a moment to settle. Take one slow breath, not to release, not to receive, just to register that the long quiet of your life had a purpose, and the purpose has finally come to find you. Truth honors truth, and the message I am bringing tonight has always been connected to two specific instruments that I want you to be aware of before another mile of revelation passes. I am naming them now, while there is still room for you to hear without pressure. Mystery built for the sake of selling at the end has never been part of how I serve you, and it will not start tonight. Esther had a queen's robe, a position in the palace, and a fasting community before her Mordecai moment arrived. Tools matter at the right hour. The Father does not call a chosen one into a moment of this size without making provision for what the moment will require. Your brain was designed to receive heaven on two specific frequencies. One frequency wakes the child within you, the part of you that was alive and curious and open before the world dimmed her. The other frequency opens the channel through which the kingdom is allowed to flow into your daily life. The first instrument is called the Genius Son. It was developed by a researcher named Dr. Robert Lake after 34 years of work, and it is the audio that begins to reverse the long sleep of the frequency that wakes your inner child. The second instrument is called the Wealth Signal. It was developed by a researcher named Dr. Stephen Newton, and it is what restores the receiving channel that adult survival mode has slowly closed over the years. The order matters. The child within you must wake first, before the receiving can begin. The Genius Song goes first. The Wealth Signal follows. I will explain the full reason for that order later in this message, when the moment is right. If your spirit is already pulling toward this before I have explained it fully, the doors are already placed beneath this moment, in the description below and in the pinned comment. You do not have to wait until I finish to step through, but the names alone are not the gift. The gift is in what comes next. There is a moment in your story when heaven first began drafting this entire alert, and that moment is where I am taking you now. Because the question that comes after Esther is the question that pulls every chosen one forward. If the silence was the writing of the alert, what changed in the unseen realm to release it tonight? What shifted? Who moved? And what was added to the scroll in the final hour that turned a sealed message into a red alert with your name at the top? That is the part of the story most people never get to hear. What changed in the unseen realm tonight is what every chosen one eventually has to know, because the change is the reason your name finally rose to the top of the scroll. Heaven does not release a red alert because of urgency on earth. Heaven releases a red alert because something has been completed in the writing. The writing of your name finished. The carving of your identity reached its final stroke. The witnesses gathered. The seal was lifted, and the one who has been holding your name on his lips for years finally inhaled to speak it. So, bring yourself back into that room outside of time, the one I described at the very beginning, the lamps, the long table, the scroll. Tonight, that scroll is no longer sealed, it is open. The voices in the unseen have grown still, and the reading begins. I hear the Spirit saying, "This is the moment." I see her, I see him, I see the one who carried more than they were built to carry and never let it harden them. I see the prayer prayed in the kitchen at midnight when there was no one in the room. I see the smile worn over a private grief that nobody around them ever asked about. I see the loyalty that stayed when leaving would have been easier and reasonable. I see the small acts of obedience that no one filmed, and no one praised, and no one repaid. I have been recording all of it, every single one. And now, the recording becomes a release. You are released from the version of yourself that learned to shrink in order to be loved. You are released from the apologies you have been making for being too much, for feeling too deeply, for seeing too clearly, for hearing what others cannot hear. You are released from the timing of people who never knew the size of your assignment. You are released from the explanations you keep owing to people who did not earn them. You are released from the silence you have been keeping over your own gifts because the people closest to you never had the eyes to recognize them. You are released from the smallness you accepted as humility when it was actually fear in a softer outfit. You are released from the season that asked you to be invisible, because the season that asks you to be seen has begun. And the closing line of the alert is the one that breaks every accusation that was ever spoken over your life. The one I have been preparing in the silence is now going to be made visible in the light. The name I have been carving will now be spoken in rooms that did not know how to pronounce her. The voice I have been training will now be heard by ears that have been waiting for a voice exactly like this one. The territory I have been holding for him will now be released into his hand. This is not a beginning. This is a reading. The beginning happened the day I chose this name. Today is the day the choosing becomes visible. The alert was never a warning. The alert was a sealing. If any of those permissions just dropped into your spirit and made something inside your chest move, when you have a free hand, type 3 words below. I am released. Type it not for me. Type it for the part of you that has been waiting years to hear that exact line spoken over your life. There is an older pattern that lives behind tonight, and it is older than any of us. The prophet Joel stood on the side of a mountain and was given a single instruction: blow the trumpet in Zion, sound an alarm on my holy mountain. Joel did not invent the trumpet. Joel did not draft the alarm. Joel was the one heaven had chosen as the carrier of a signal that needed to break the silence over an entire generation. The trumpet was placed in his hand, the breath was placed in his lungs, and when he blew, the silence over the people cracked open. Tonight, a different kind of trumpet is in your hand. The breath is in your lungs. The watchman archetype that lived in Joel lives in you, because you are the one who heard the alert first, not as the audience, as the carrier. The reading you are receiving is also the alarm you are about to sound. The watchman is awake. And under the line that finished the reading, 4 other lines were written, and these are the 4 shapes your life is being called to carry from tonight forward. You are the voice, the one who speaks what the silenced cannot speak, the one who walks into a room and gives language to a feeling that was sitting in the air without a name. The hush around you for so long was not because you had nothing to say. It was because the words that are about to come out of you needed time to mature into something the world could no longer ignore. You are the truth carrier, the one who cannot live a divided life, the one who sees through the polite lies that other people accept because the lie is easier than the truth. You have always been a little too honest for the rooms you were placed in, and you blamed yourself for that, when in fact, your honesty was the design. You are the spiritual warrior, the one who stays standing in the seasons that threaten everyone else. You held ground when the people around you collapsed. You kept your faith when faith was unfashionable. You did not fall apart, even when falling apart would have been understandable. That standing was not stubbornness. That was anointing in a posture you did not yet have a word for. You are the bridge, the one heaven placed between the word that needs to be spoken and the people who do not yet know they are waiting to hear it. Bridges are walked on. Bridges connect what could not connect on its own. You have carried weight that did not belong to you, because the weight had to cross something, and you were the crossing. The crossing is the calling. I hear the doubt rising in some of you already, the voice that says, "This cannot be me." There are people more qualified, there are people more obedient, there are people more visible. Isaiah says, let me speak directly to that doubt for 1 minute, because that doubt is part of why the alert is being read tonight in the first place. You are allowed to be the one heaven named. You are allowed to receive a message that is bigger than your present life. You are allowed to be unfinished and still be chosen. You are allowed to be late and still be on time, because heaven's clock measures readiness, not punctuality. You are allowed to be tired and still be commissioned. You are allowed to outgrow the version of yourself that almost stopped listening. You are allowed to step into a name you do not feel ready to wear, because heaven did not ask you to feel ready. Heaven simply asked you to receive. The doubt you are feeling right now is not disqualification. The doubt is heaven's protective screening. The ones who feel ready often were not. The ones who feel unworthy often are the very ones who were prepared in secret for exactly this hour. Esther doubted. Mary doubted. Moses argued with the burning bush about whether he was the right man. The doubt did not cancel the calling. The doubt confirmed the carrier. Now, before I show you the path forward, because I will show you, there is one more thing I have to reveal. Something that connects everything heaven just declared with the actual capacity of your body to carry it. There is a reason the child within you has been dim for years. There is a reason the receiving has been blocked, even when the believing was strong. Two specific things have been happening under the surface of your life, and once you understand them, the path forward becomes obvious. Stay with me through this next minute. It is the bridge between the alert and the answer. Let me speak plainly for a moment, because what I am about to say is the part most people skip and most teachers never connect. Two things have been quietly draining you for years. The first is something researchers have named the decline effect. From around the age of 7, the frequency in your brain that carries genius, intuition, curiosity, and the wide-open trust of a child begins to dim. School trains it down. Disappointment trains it down. The pace of adult life trains it down. By the time most people reach their 30s or 40s, the frequency that once made the world feel alive has fallen quiet. That is the first dimming, the decline effect. The child within you is still alive, but she is sleeping under layers of years. The second thing is something else. Researchers have named it the stress signal. It is a low, constant background hum of survival mode that your nervous system has been broadcasting for so long you no longer notice it. It is the static in your chest in the morning before your eyes open. It is the inability to fully receive a compliment, a gift, a yes, a kindness. The stress signal hijacks the channel through which the kingdom is supposed to flow into your daily life. You can believe with your whole heart and still find that the receiving never quite arrives because the channel itself is closed. So here is what is true tonight. The red alert that heaven sounded over your life requires both of those layers to be restored, not added to. Restored. You were not broken, you were dimmed, and the restoration happens in a specific order. The child within you has to wake first. That is the first wave. Without that, no amount of receiving will reach the part of you that was designed to receive it. The genius song reverses the decline effect. It reactivates the frequency that was dimmed. It wakes the child. Then the second wave restores the channel. Once the child is awake, the wealth signal deactivates the stress signal that has been blocking the receiving. The channel opens. The kingdom that was always promised begins to flow in the way heaven intended it to flow, not into a stranger, into the child within you who has finally woken up. This is what an older teacher meant in a verse most people read too quickly. Become like little children, and the kingdom is yours. He was not making a poetic suggestion. He was describing a sequence. The child first, the kingdom second. Tonight, your alert and your sequence are arriving at the same hour. What was opened with the alert can only be carried by what is restored within. Let me show you what was restored, in the order it was meant to be restored. Before I show you the shape of the path, you have to know who heaven was speaking to in that reading, because the words that were just released were not designed for an ordinary listener. They were designed for someone with a specific lineage that almost no one talks about anymore. You were not born ordinary. The body you live in was built with two specific frequencies running at full strength on the day you arrived. The first carried the kind of curiosity, openness, and creative knowing that adults call genius and children simply call living. The second carried a quiet receiving channel that allowed wonder, gifts, kindness, and provision to flow into you without resistance. Two waves, both fully active. That is the heritage you were born with. The old language called it being a child of light. The newer language calls it being one of the chosen ones, born with a dual signal that the modern world systematically dims. You did not fail. You were dimmed, and the long, exhausting silence around your name in this season, the reason heaven had to write a red alert over your life, centuries in the making, is because the alert that heaven prepared requires both of those waves restored to be carried. The child has to wake. The channel has to open. In that order. There is a teacher I want to tell you about. A woman in her early 40s, in Texas. A teacher by trade. The kind who pours herself out for the growth of other people, while she quietly stops growing herself. For years, she described her own brain as a machine running at 30% of its capacity. 3 weeks after she began listening to the genius song, ideas she had been waiting on for a decade started showing up in her morning shower. Decisions that had been frozen for an entire year were made in a single weekend. The shift was not in her circumstances. The shift was in the frequency that had been dimmed since she was a girl. The child within her woke up, and the woman finally caught up to the calling that had been waiting on her for years. So here is what the genius song actually is. There is a tool that Dr. Robert Lake released after 34 years of work, and it is the tool that begins the first wave. Its name is the Genius Song. It is a digital audio track, 7 minutes long, that you listen to with headphones, eyes closed, once a day. That is the entire instruction. The science underneath it is called brain entrainment. 2 slightly different sound frequencies are delivered, one into each ear, and the brain organizes itself in response to the difference between them. Specifically, it begins to reactivate the gamma frequency, the frequency that was dimmed by the decline effect from around the age of 7, the frequency that carries the curiosity, the intuition, and the wide-open knowing of the child you used to be. Dr. Lake spent 34 years on this work, with research drawn from MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other leading research institutions. He is not a wellness influencer. He is a neuroscientist who refused to let what he discovered stay buried in academic journals. What the Genius Song does is reverse the decline effect. It reactivates the gamma frequency. It wakes the child within you. Curiosity returns, openness returns. The small daily magic that you remember from before the world taught you not to notice slowly returns. The promise is not that you become a genius overnight. The promise is the first wave of restoration. The child wakes up. I want to add one quiet note, and then I will keep moving. For some of the chosen ones who walk this path further than most, there is a deeper version of this restoration that goes by the name the youthful brain. Many of those who decide their path requires going deeper, encounter it after they secure the genius psalm first. If your spirit confirms that one, when the time comes, take it. If not, the original is enough on its own. Do not overthink it. Spirit will know. Researchers, after decades of separate work, mapped the same dimming pattern, the decline effect, at the gamma frequency. They documented it, they tested it, they confirmed the reversal through brain entrainment. That is, the scientific spine underneath what you just heard. The genius song does what the first wave was always designed to do. It wakes the child within you. The curiosity returns, the openness returns. The magic that you were told to leave behind in childhood quietly walks back into the room. And yet, even after the child has woken up, something else is still in the way. The child within you can be fully awake, fully curious, fully alive again, and still find that she cannot reach for what was promised to her. There is one more layer underneath this, something that has been blocking the receiving channel for so long that most people assume it is just how adult life feels. There is a frequency called the stress signal. It is the beta state your nervous system has been running at for years, the constant background hum of striving, scanning, bracing, preparing for the next thing to go wrong. Modern life raised the volume of this signal beyond what your body was designed to hold. Adult survival mode quietly took over the channel, and while you were busy surviving, the receiving channel that should have been open began to close. The drawbridge slowly raised. The receiving stopped arriving, even when the believing was strong. There is a second researcher whose work answers this exact problem. His name is Dr. Stephen Newton. He spent his early career inside the research walls at Stanford and several other research institutions before he stepped away from the establishment in order to release what he had documented. He arrived at his conclusions independently of Dr. Lake. Two researchers, 2 different decades, 2 separate research traditions, walking up to the same dual restoration from different sides. What Dr. Newton released is a tool called the wealth signal. It is a 5-minute digital audio paired with what is called a 9-word wealth script, a phrase rooted in a way of speaking that is over 3,000 years old. The audio guides your brain frequency from the beta of the stress signal back into alpha, the receiving state. The 9-word script bypasses the rigidity at the part of the brain that was holding the channel closed. This is how the child within you is permitted to receive again. 2 waves. The first wave restores the child. The second wave opens the channel. You need both, in this order. The child has to wake before she can receive. The channel has to open before what she has been promised can reach her. Become like little children, then receive the kingdom. The sequence is the secret. The path that follows the wave order is the wealth signal. 5 minutes a day, headphones, eyes closed, listening while the 9-word script is repeated. Dr. Newton, formerly of Stanford, with research lineage drawn from Stanford, Boston University, and other research institutions, is the neuroscientist who broke from the establishment to release this work into the hands of the people who needed it. His career did not allow it. His conscience required it. What the wealth signal does, after the genius song has restored the child mind, is open the manifestation channel. The stress signal is deactivated. The alpha state is restored. The receiving begins to arrive without effort. The kingdom that was always promised flows in the way a child receives a gift. with no resistance, no negotiation, no proving. There is a deeper extension of this second wave that goes by the name the Wealth Signal Accelerator. It amplifies the receiving channel many times faster than the original alone. Many of the chosen ones already on this path encounter it after they secure the wealth signal first. If your spirit confirms it, take it. If it does not speak to you, the original alone is complete. Do not overthink. And one last note about both. Some of the chosen ones who go furthest along this whole path tend to walk with the wealth signal accelerator and the youthful brain together, the two amplifications working in the same season. You will encounter both after you secure the originals, only if your spirit calls them forward. The originals alone are complete. The combination is reserved for those whose path requires going further than most. There is a man I want to tell you about. A sales manager in his late 40s, working out of Phoenix. For 5 years after a promotion, he worked 60 hours a week. The income climbed. His presence at home shrank. His wife told him, gently, that he was no longer in the room with her in the evenings. 11 days after he began using the wealth signal, he negotiated boundaries with his leadership that he had been wanting to set for 2 years. The numbers did not drop. For the first time in 4 years, he had a weekend without checking his email once. The shift was not about money. The shift was about presence. The stress signal had been hijacking his life, even though his finances were stable. The wealth signal restored what the stress signal had been quietly stealing. The same brain frequency calibration that Dr. Lake studied at the gamma layer, Dr. Newton studied at the alpha layer. Stanford, Boston University, and other research institutions. 2 layers. 1. Restoration. Now, I want to gently address what I know is rising in some of you. Some of you are thinking, I have tried things before. Sound healing, meditation apps, affirmations. Why would this be different? The honest answer is the mechanism. Most of what you have tried, ask your mind to change itself from the inside, slowly, often without measurable feedback. These two work from the outside, on the brain frequencies themselves, in a way that has been measured on equipment. And the second difference is the sequence. Most tools target one frequency, in isolation. This addresses two, in the order they were designed to be restored. That is the difference you have not encountered before. Some of you are thinking, this sounds too good to be true. I understand. The honest response is to move from promise to evidence. The frequencies these tools work with are measurable on standard brain imaging equipment. The reversal patterns have been replicated in laboratory environments at multiple institutions. The shift from promise to data is what disarms the doubt. Some of you are thinking, even $39 is not small for me right now. I would never disrespect your finances. If 39 is what your situation allows, the first wave on its own is an honored entry point. If your situation allows the full path is the complete journey. Either way, across a year, the first wave is roughly 10 cents a day, and the full path is roughly 21 cents a day. There is no subscription. There is a 90-day money-back guarantee underneath all of it. The risk you carry is zero. The only real risk is not trying. And some of you are thinking, why do I need 2 products? Why not just one? That is the most important question of the night. And it is the reason the sequence exists. The genius song works on the gamma frequency. The wealth signal works on the alpha frequency. 2 different frequencies. No single tool covers both. And they have to arrive in order, because a sleeping child cannot receive a gift, and an awake child with a closed channel still cannot reach for what is hers. The teacher of an older time said it plainly, become like little children, then receive what was promised. The sequence is the answer to the doubt. So tonight, 3 doors are placed in front of you, and all 3 are honored. The first door is restoration. Some chosen ones need to begin with the genius song, Alone. The first wave, the child within them has been asleep for so long that she needs to wake before any reception is possible. If that is your path, that is an honored entry point. There is nothing small about waking the child. It is the beginning of everything else. The second door is reception. A smaller number of chosen ones, usually those who already have a strong, active inner life, find that their child mind is still alive, but the receiving channel has been closed by years of striving. For them, the wealth signal alone is enough. That is a rarer path, but it is real and it is honored. The third door is complete restoration. Most of the chosen ones who walk this path discover, by the time they reach this moment, that both have to happen. The child has to wake and the channel has to open. The genius song restores the child within. The wealth signal opens what was promised to her. Restoration and reception do not simply add up, they compound. A waking child with a closed channel is half a restoration. The child wakes, but cannot reach. Most chosen ones who hear this clearly understand that they are walking the third door, because that is the door their alert was written for. Become like little children, and the kingdom is yours. Hear me carefully. None of these 3 doors comes with sales pressure. The third door is the one most chosen ones recognize as theirs. But if your spirit pulls toward the first or the second, that pull is honored. There is no wrong door tonight. There is only the door your spirit knows is yours. And every day that passes without restoration is a day the decline effect continues to dim and the stress signal continues to broadcast. Both of them compound, quietly, in the same way. The version of you that walks through the next 12 months with both waves restored is already looking back at this exact moment, watching to see what you do with it. That future version of you is real. He is already there. He is already there. The choice tonight is whether the version of you in this seat tonight is the one who walked toward her or the one who waited another year. The Father is not putting pressure on you. The clock of your life is doing that on its own. One more thing I have to protect you from. Both of these tools exist in only one place. They are not on Amazon, they are not on Spotify, they are not on YouTube. The links you are about to be given are the only place either of these has ever been released. If you find anything calling itself by these names anywhere else, walk away. The original is the only one that carries the calibration. So now, take one breath with me, hand to your chest if you can, eyes lowered for a moment, if it is safe to do so. The decision in front of you is not a pricing decision. The decision is, which path is mine? All 3 are honored. Your spirit already knows the answer. The 3 doors are placed below this video, in the description and in the pinned comment. Step into the one that calls you. The first door is restoration, the genius song Alone, for the chosen one whose first work is to wake the child within. The second door is reception, the wealth signal Alone, for the chosen one whose receiving channel has been the only thing in the way. And the third door is the full path, both audios, both waves, the complete restoration most chosen ones recognize as their own. 3 doors, all of them in the description below this video, all of them in the pinned comment. Step into the one your spirit already knows is yours. There is one more thing the alert says, and it is the line that almost no one gets to hear, because most messages end before they reach this part of the scroll. I want to tell you about a chosen one whose name I will not give you, because her name is hers, and heaven keeps the names of the hidden. She had spent most of her adult life functioning as the steady one in every room, the one her family called when something fell apart, the one her friends leaned on when their own lives shook. And under all of that capable carrying, she had a quieter exhaustion that she never let anyone see. She had stopped expecting heaven to speak directly to her, because the speaking, in her experience, was always for someone else. One ordinary evening, she heard a message that landed on her in a way no other message had. She did not move from her chair for several minutes after it ended. She did not tell anyone what had happened that night. She simply began listening. She began receiving. She did the smallest, most consistent steps, every day, in private, with no audience. 41 days later, 3 things had shifted in her life that she could not explain by effort. A relationship she had been silently grieving had returned, on its own, with apologies she had stopped asking for. The door inside her work had opened, the kind of door that decisions a year ago could not have unlocked, but a single conversation that morning did. And the heaviness she had been carrying around her future, the weight she had described in her journal as the great weight, was simply gone one Tuesday morning. She did not search for proof. She received her name, and proof became inevitable. What happened to her was not luck. It was sequence, the same sequence that has been forming around your life for years and is closing tonight. So bring yourself, one more time, into that room, outside of time. The lamps are burning low. The witnesses are still in their places. The scroll is open on the long table. The reading has reached its final line. And what you are about to hear is the line that recolors every other line that came before it. I hear the Spirit declaring. The hidden one becomes the named one. The held one becomes the released one. The honored one becomes the visible one. The hush around her name is over. The hush around his name is over. The voice I have been training is no longer in training. The truth she carries is no longer waiting for permission. The ground he holds is no longer being tested for weight. The bridge she is now open for the crossing. The trumpet in her hand is no longer ceremonial. The watchman is awake, and the watchman is sounding. This is the name, the voice that speaks for the silenced, the truth carrier that cannot live divided, the spiritual warrior that holds when others fall, the bridge that connects what could not connect on its own. All 4 of those names are yours. They are not roles. They are who you have always been. The world simply did not have language for you yet. Tonight, the language has arrived. This is not the beginning. The beginning happened the day heaven chose this name. Tonight is the day the choosing becomes visible. The red alert was the announcement that your name had finally been read aloud. The reading is what summoned this entire moment. And the name beneath the name you have been answering to all your life. The one heaven has been carving, while the world kept mispronouncing the smaller version of you. That name has just been spoken over your life. You will recognize it not in your ears, but in the part of you that has always suspected it was true. Now, before I close this, I want to take you somewhere in your mind, because what just happened needs to settle into a place inside you that words alone cannot reach. Stay where you are. You do not need to move. In your mind, I want you to stand in an empty hall. The hall is older than any building you have ever seen. The ceiling is high, the air is still, and somewhere up ahead of you, a single light is burning. In the very center of that hall, there is a long table. On the table, the open scroll. Around the table, in concentric circles that go back further than your eyes can see, are witnesses. The teacher named Esther stands in the first circle. The watchman of the holy mountain stands beside her. Behind them, generations of the hidden ones who carried alerts of their own, in their own lifetimes. They are not crowding you, they are honoring you. A voice, the voice that has been carving your name in silence all these years, is reading the scroll out loud. The voice is reading your name, not the name your parents wrote on a form when you were born. The name beneath that one, the one you have always suspected was true. This is not imagination. This is what was already true before this video began. You are simply seeing it with your eyes open for the first time. Feel the weight of being known settle into you. Not pressure, knowledge. And now, the words begin to quiet. The lamps stay lit. The witnesses stay in their circles. The scroll stays open. But the speaking moves into a different kind of stillness, the kind that comes after a long-awaited word has finally been said. I want to honor what just happened in this space. Not with a list, not with a recap, just with a moment of recognition. You did not arrive at this point by accident. You did not stumble into a room of this depth on a casual evening. The hours you spent in silence, the years you spent unverified, the days you wondered if any of this was for you, all of them brought you to the seat you are sitting in tonight. The journey was not wasted. The journey was the path to the reading. The Father has watched every step that led you here, without missing a single one. The faithfulness in private, the prayers prayed with no answer, the smile worn over the grief no one knew you were carrying. He saw all of it. He recorded all of it. And tonight, the recording is being read back to you, not as evidence against, but as evidence for. So in this stillness, before the seal is placed, there is one thing for you to release. Let go of the doubt that this alert was for someone else. Not piece by piece, all at once. Let go of the silent argument you have had with heaven for years, the one in which you made a quiet case for why you were too ordinary, too late, too small, too unfinished, too unseen, too inconsistent, too tired. That argument has been heard. The verdict has been entered. Heaven did not agree with the argument. Heaven called you anyway. So, tonight, that argument ends. The doubt that this was for someone else, place it down here, right here, in the open hall, on the long table, beside the scroll that has your name on it. The doubt does not belong on you anymore. You are not alone in this. All across the world tonight, in different rooms, in different time zones, in different languages, chosen ones are receiving their alerts in this same hour. You are part of a quiet host that has never met but is being commissioned together. And now, the seal is placed. I am the one heaven has named, and the name will not be unspoken. I am awake to the calling I almost let myself forget, and I will not return to sleep. I am released into the season of being seen, and I will not apologize for being visible anymore. It is sealed. It is done. Do not say amen yet. Sit in this for a moment. 60 seconds. Do not check your phone. Do not stand up. Let what was just spoken settle into the place inside you that has been waiting years for this exact frequency to arrive. The seal is placed, but the ceiling is still landing. Let it land. One more thing before you go, because the alert is not finished until you carry it the way it was meant to be carried. You are not the person you were when you pressed play. The seat is the same, the room is the same, the clock has barely moved. But the name you sit under is not the same. Receive that. Do not minimize it before you have even stood up. When you have a free hand, I want you to type one line in the comments below. Type it with the force of someone who has been waiting their whole life to write it. I am the one heaven named. Type it for the part of you that has carried this in silence for years and has never been allowed to say it out loud. And if anything inside this hour landed on you the way it was meant to, let your like be your amen. Let it be your agreement with what was just sealed. Not for me, for the seal itself. If your spirit is still calling toward what I shared earlier in this message, the doors are placed below, in the description, in the pinned comment. The first door is restoration. The second door is reception. The third door is the full path. Step into the one your spirit already knows is yours, only if you feel led. And before you leave, there is someone in your life right now whose name just rose to the surface of your mind. Maybe they have been unusually quiet for weeks. Maybe they have been carrying something they cannot put a name on. Maybe they have stopped reaching out, and you have not known how to reach back. Send this to that one specific person, not to a list, not to a group, to the one face that came up while I was speaking. Your obedience tonight could be their alert, finally arriving. The watchman who hears the trumpet is also the one who passes the trumpet to the next watchman. The trumpet is in your hand. May your hands carry only what was given to you tonight, and never again the weight that was never yours. May your steps in the next 24 hours land on ground that has been prepared for you by the same hand that wrote your name. May the next 90 days unfold around you, the way the morning unfolds around a child who is finally awake again. You are not leaving a message. You are leaving the hour heaven called your name. Walk gently into it. The reading is finished. The carrying begins.